recording in Zoom. Hopefully that works.
It is. I
and
see
then streaming.
Recording.
Always have some sort of technical issue, but we'll have to try to get through this. Okay, so it says live on Facebook.
Yeah, it says live on Facebook up there. Takes
All
a
right,
few seconds, I think.
I actually lost the back end control of the stream, but I can see it that it's live on. Jesus. Okay, that's not ideal, but I guess it'll work. Welcome to Levi Gates from the Rag Company. I've tried to. I tried earlier this year to kickstart a sort of a international podcast spree. I had a small chat with Matt, and I had a chat with Rick from Rad Garage in Canada. And at some point I wrote down your name, but nothing happened until now, a week ago. And then I've been not answering your messages and being a bit slow.
Tommy, you've been fine, bro.
Yeah, thank you. So Levi, maybe you would like to start off with talking a little bit about yourself, your background in the industry, and how you ended up at the Rag Company, and what is it that you do at the Rag Company today?
Perfect. Thanks, brother. Well, thanks for having me on, and super excited to be on here. And then biggest thing about me is my name is Levi Gates. I'm a detailer. I've been a detailer for over almost 25 years. And I kind of grew up a detailer. My parents were detailers. My mom and dad used to detail cars on the side for extra income when I was young, to the point that my mom said that when I was very little, she put me in a baby Bjorn and wax cars with me, like right there, like on her chest, like, and she said when she flipped me around to the front that I would try and get my hands in the wax and stuff. So my parents always argue as to who it was that taught me how to wax cars first. My dad's like, oh, it was me when he was 13. And my mom goes, no, it was me when he was like 2 months old. And so they do argue about that stuff. But point is, I kind of just grew up in detailing. I've always cleaned cars my whole life. Cleaning cars was kind of one of my chores as a kid, next to taking the dog out to go to the bathroom, walking him, and taking out the trash. I also had to wash and wax the cars. And so it's something I always enjoyed, something I always felt kind of a connection to. Like it was the one thing that I could do that I enjoyed for myself. And it was something that I always made okay money at the time. When I started detailing, I started a car wash down the street from my house, and I was doing express detailing and stuff with them. That's kind of how I became a professional, so to speak. And from there, I started managing different businesses, different shops, detail shops around the area. I came from a very high volume, fast paced dealer workshop. So I built a lot of speed and was able to be a very fast detailer. However, the amount and excess of that speed caused me to kind of burn up my body a bit.
Yeah.
And so when I opened my own shop in 2012, I opened up Hawks Detail Masters of Shine. I tried to slow down. I tried to learn more of the craft of detailing and the art of detailing. I no longer had a boss that would buy whatever he could to save money. And that's really where I learned about premium microfiber.
Yeah.
I was wiping a car off and I was using the Kirkland Signature Costco towels, and I could see it would, leave marring on paint. And I thought there's got to be a better way. And I did a Google search for good microfiber and found that there was, 3 locations at the time selling microfiber in the US. And that was different. That wasn't like a traditional just terry weaved cloth.
What year is this?
This would have been, probably 2013, 14.
Yeah.
So started looking and found that the Rag Company was 1 mile from my work. 1 mile
Oh,
from my detail shop. And I said,
yeah.
wait a minute, hold on a second.
What?
And the other, yeah, one store was in, one was like Auto Geek in Florida, and then the other one was actually Microfiber Tech, which is auto fiber in San Diego. But then I did a little deeper dive and found that, Auto Fiber or Microfiber Tech and Rag Company were the only ones that were actually manufacturers. Auto Geek had been reselling, DI had been reselling, things like that. So I thought, well, I'll go, that's pretty cool. And the fact that they're a mile away from my shop. So me and my guys hopped in the car, headed over, spent 3 hours with Jeff learning about microfiber.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And then I spent about $200-300 with them that day and bought towels, and then went back the next day on my lunch break and spent $200-300 more. And I went like that. And then the same thing for the Rag Company. They had started to transition to auto detailing, was becoming more and more the business for them. Originally it had been janitorial, sanitation, and hotels, hospitals, things like that. So detailing became 80% of their market. And so instantly they were like, holy cow, we need someone to be able to help us answer all these questions, because neither of them were detailers. And I had been coming in every day just about buying towels. And Jeff started hitting me up. He'd have a list of questions for me when I'd walk in the door. And we went like that for a couple of years. And it got to a point where I remember they would call me with questions, and they're like, I have a person on hold on. And they'd three-way me while I'm polishing a car in my shop. I'd be doing customer service for the Rag Company at the same time. And I finally was like, this is getting a little crazy, guys. Like, this is, I have a second job now. And so they ended up hiring me part-time remotely to answer customer service. And they just filled an email folder for me that just said, here's all these, I need you to run through them. And so I did that for a year or two and was doing videos with them. And then one day Jeff just said, how do I hire you? How do you come work for me? And I had a business, I had my own shop, I had 7 employees, and it was a hard, question to ask, especially, when you start your own business and you put all this sweat equity into it.
Yeah.
We'd been going about 5 years. We were very successful. But like I said, my body was taking the toll.
Yeah.
It was getting harder and harder to actually do cars. I was looking down the barrel of surgery, and I finally, after some soul searching, but it took me about 8 months to really just step back and go, all right, here's what we're gonna do. So sold my share of the shop and went to work full time for the Rag Company. And it's been almost 5 years since I've been with the Rag Company. And that's amazing to me. And I've had a lot of fun doing it. But my job when I came on was to help develop the brand, help get us known in the industry around the world. And that's really what I've focused on for the last 5 years, as well as education and training and teaching of how to use products, how to make yourself a faster, a better detailer, how to use each product, because a towel is just another tool in your toolbox.
Yeah.
The hard part is a lot of people think that, they look at it and they go, oh, it's just a screwdriver. And I have screwdrivers, and you can get a Phillips in a standard slot. And I always tell folks, yeah, but if you've ever looked at a screwdriver kit, there's 10 or 12 different screwdrivers. There's different sizes, there's different types, different lengths of handles. Each one's uniquely designed to fit in a space. You can't just use a standard, normal, run-of-the-mill, go to your dad's toolbox and grab a screwdriver, when you need a short, stubby one, or you need a really thin, small one for your glasses. So that's the same thing happens with towels. And that's one thing that we have with the Rag Company. Like I said, we make over 150 different types of microfiber. And we try and teach people how to use, hopefully, each one effectively in the right way, because some work better than others.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that our goal is to make you quicker and faster. And it's through my own experience of utilizing these towels and working with those. And then having, my Anthony Fisher, who works with me at the Rag Company, he's kind of my my go-to for that, and my co-host on a lot of things, but he's the one that me and him bring in every product line. It sits with us for 1 year. So the product line comes in, we play with it, we test it, we use it on our own cars, we use it on everything we can for 1 year, and then we make a decision, and then we figure out how can we implement it. And if it can't pass muster between both of us, meaning we can't agree on it, then we don't sell it and we don't bring it in.
Is this both for Rag Company, Microfiber, and for other brands' products that you take on?
For chemicals, yes. For products, we work on, like right now, to my left over here, I have a prototype product that I can't show you, but it's a product we've been working on for about 6 months. And it's something that we're trying to do for our customers. And we always come up with ideas and different ways in which we can do something with a towel or a new tool with our new Ultra line of stuff. We just released like our Ultra Clay bar. We've got the Ultra Clay towel, which we brought on from Optimum because Optimum stopped carrying it in the US. And so it's still available in Europe, but they stopped carrying it for the US market. And it's such a good product. We reached out and said, can we just take that on for you? And that's what we did with that. And so bringing out better products to make your life a little easier is all about what it is. Because like I said, I detailed for a number of years and I didn't have a lot of help, and I didn't have a lot of education, and I didn't have a lot of people in my corner helping me, showing me the right path. I had to self-taught and learn my own way. And once I came onto the Rag Company, I got to meet everybody in the industry, and I've gotten to meet all these other folks that are great. I've been able to pull from each person, and I've been able to take something and learn from each person. But then at the same time, I feel like, I'm climbing a ladder, and because I've had the ladder and I'm able to climb it, it's my job to help all of those below come up that ladder with me and go, look, guys, look at what I made. This is what I learned. Here, I'm going to share this with you.
I really
and
like
that's
that
kind
philosophy.
of my goal is to just, it's and it stems from being alone, being by myself, trying to figure out how to polish a car, and having just my boss go, well, this is how you do it. And I go, well, why do we do it that way? Well, I don't know.
You learned it the hard way.
Who taught you? Well, the guy before me. Okay, can we call him? I don't know where he is. I don't know. He quit 10 years ago. It's like, it's got to be a better way to learn this stuff. There's got to be a better way to do this. And so that was kind of where that stemmed from, was that lack of having that education and want and desire and growing up that way to having access and utilizing it.
I think also maybe, I don't know if this goes for your previous boss, but a lot of people have always looked at knowledge as an enemy or as a threat to their business and their livelihood, because if other people learn how they do stuff, they can take it away from them. But turns out, I think that's not the way how it works, because there's never been as much sharing of experience and knowledge as there is now, but businesses are still thriving and people are doing perfectly fine. So yeah,
and I think a lot of that had to do, once the advent of Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the stuff happening, I think once that came out, it made it okay. Prior to that, we didn't have that social network to share stuff with. And I just remember Rennie Doyle was living in Idaho, in Boise, right around the corner from our shop that I had managed. And I remember telling my boss, hey, this guy Rennie is a detailer. Maybe he could come over and teach us some things. We could call him up and see if maybe he could do something for us. We probably have to pay him, but I think it'd be good for the crew. And he's like, nah, we're Boise's, we're the best. So why do we need anybody else's help? And I always thought, like, well, it wouldn't hurt, right? It wouldn't hurt. So why wouldn't we do that? And it's funny now because, I got Rennie to come back to Boise after he moved away, come back to Boise, come to the Rag Company, host a clinic. And I got that guy to come sit and hang out and take his class. And I remember him looking at me at one point and going, man, I was an idiot. Why didn't I call this guy when where was his shop? And I told him where it was. And he was like, that was right around the corner. And I said, I know. That's what I said. That's why I wanted him here.
Yeah.
We could have done one-on-one private with him. We could have done this stuff. But it was, I think it had to happen. I think it had to happen. We had to have social media to help allow everybody to learn how to share.
I guess that also goes for a
And
lot of
share
other
that
niches,
knowledge.
that you are now able to find people in the strangest places of Earth that have the same peculiar
Right.
interests as you. Who would have known that there was
Exactly.
interest for quality microfiber the way you make it, and in detailing? You couldn't have found that out for 20 years ago. Not possible.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I always thought a towel was a towel. So
Yeah.
to get into where it was, it's totally different style and something I never thought in a million years. But I always thought it'd be fun to find a job in the industry. But again, I didn't know. I thought, well, I've got my own business, so I'm either going to have to create the job that I want, or hope that it, you know, that it falls in my lap. And in a sense, I created that same job within the rag company, just by being available and helping out, and technically working for free for quite a long time.
So I think what you've been doing
hired,
is you've been putting yourself in the position as being the guy on microfiber. So when people want to know something about microfiber, they call you or they contact you, and that's quite a powerful position to be in. That's probably one of the best, because then you can sell to people without selling to them. You can share your knowledge and expertise.
And that's our whole goal with the rag companies. We've always said that education first, sales second.
Yeah.
And we don't care if you listen to us and you watch maybe one of our videos and you learn something about a microfiber towel, and you learn exactly, like, there goes my air compressor.
Yeah.
But you learn when you learn the types of towel, or you learn a weave, GSM, blend, and you learn any of those things, and maybe you don't buy from us, that's fine. But the goal is we educated you. We were the ones that taught you what you now know. We made that wrinkle in your brain. And the hope is that you'll remember that and you'll come back when you have another question. And then maybe then you buy something from us. And that's really our whole goal, is to educate first in everything we do.
Yeah. So this is probably a dangerous thing to say, but talk to me about microfiber.
Okay, well, let me turn off my air compressor first.
No, we can't. I can't hear it, actually.
You can't hear it?
No.
Even better. That's good. It's isolating it. Good.
Yep.
So it's very loud here in my garage.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm very happy that you can't hear.
Can't hear a thing.
So good. So there's various types of microfiber. The biggest, the one thing most people know about exactly is, take for instance, like the Costco towel or Terry towel, or like what you guys sell, the 300.
Yeah.
That weave.
This one. That's a 300.
Yeah. Yep. That weave is known as a Terry weave.
Yeah.
And a Terry weave is quite possibly the most common weave for a microfiber towel. Now, one thing that makes that towel different from a Costco towel or Kirkland Signature towel is that is a 70-30 blend, where the Kirkland Signature is an 80-20. And the difference is that you have 70% polyester with 30% polyamide. Polyester creates the structure and the backbone of a microfiber towel. Polyamide creates softness and absorbency. That's what that does. So an increase in polyamide makes a towel softer and more absorbent. For example, if you go to any of your big box stores or any of the auto parts stores or anything, and you can do this in Norway, is go look at the towels at the store. Flip them over, look for the country of origin, and see if they have added the blend. Many times you will find that it'll be a 100% polyester, which means it's not absorbent at all. No matter how hard you try and make it absorb water, it won't. And then you'll find 95-5, you'll find 90-10, you'll find 80-20, you'll find all kinds of different variations. 80-20 is what we recommend to start using microfiber towels at. Use an 80-20, because if that's the very first thing you're going to grab, let's say you go to, here in the US with Walmart, people go into Walmart, they buy towels and they're like, I got a whole pack, they're great. Well, what they don't realize is they didn't look at the blend. The blend has to start at 80-20. That is what we refer to as just the right mix. Now, 70-30 becomes a premium blend. That is when we say that is the next step up. That is the best of the best. Now, they do, in that theory, make a 60-40 blend, but that price is still so high to manufacture that it doesn't make sense. People won't spend that kind of money for a 60-40 blend.
Okay,
It's
but
too much.
is it better than the 70-30, or is it?
It can be. It's more absorbent, definitely, but it does limit itself in the sense that it gets almost too soft.
Okay, yeah.
Where the towel can't. The towel still needs to have bite. The towel still needs to be able to grab and pull and remove, and it's got to have. It's dexterous. It uses its hands. So that's the biggest thing with the blends is, so we have the most 70-30 blended towels on the market. Many of our competitors use a 75-25 blend, and some even use an 80-20. Some do use 70-30, but it's not as wide of range of towels as ours. And so blends are a big thing. Next is weaves. Weaves specify based on what each towel can do. So like you said, the 300 is a great weave. It's a terry weave. It's very simple, easy, effective. It's great for polish removal, great for coating removal. It's a good towel. Pearl weaves are a much tighter. So we have like our ice pearl, the green pearl, and then we also have our purple pearl. A pearl weave is similar to a terry, but much, much tighter. Very much like the difference between like your car seat upholstery and a seat belt. Your seat belt is a very, very, very tight weave, and it needs to be for strength. And the one thing we do with the terry, or with the with a pearl weave, is we created that towel mostly designed for coating leveling and coating removal, because of the fact many manufacturers started testing and using. So coating manufacturers started requesting pearl weaves be used to level the coating. And originally we carried that towel, and Jeff said it was a countertop cleaning style was what it originally had always been referred to a decade ago. And the rag company carried them as a wax removal towel, and people really liked them, but they weren't a very popular towel. So we stopped carrying it for a while. Until the coating companies started saying, do you have pearls? Do you have pearls? And we were like, yeah, we guess we can look. And then they sent us a pearl weave, and we were like, oh, we had this towel forever. Like, well, we can bring it back, not a problem. And so it was sometimes it's easy that way, where, the market didn't find a use for that type of weave. And then it did. And so it's a great leveling towel because of how tight that weave is. It's a very uniform surface on there, and a very low lint. And then the diamond weave for glass was something that came about because glass is the same thing. Extremely tight weave on our glass towels. So our premium glass, our standard glass, and then the diamonds, all very, very tight. The differences between the premium and standard glass and the diamond is that the premium and standard glass are what we call a corduroy or herringbone weave, where it's almost one direction.
Yeah.
So it only goes in one direction. So when you move the towel one way, it glides nicely on the surface. Turn it the other way, and those ridges kind of stop the motion of the towel, and they bunch up. And people don't like that feeling. So we thought, how do we get that omnidirectional? And that was how the diamond came about. The diamond has that pattern, so you can move it however you're going to go. You're not going to have those issues. But again, very, very tight weaves. And a lot of guys like them not only for glass, but also PPF. So they're doing PPF because of the low lint capability, because they're not a towel that sheds. And they like the premium glass for its absorbency because it's a 70-30 rather than an 80-20.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of guys that use that. Then you got like the newest one, twist loops. And twists is just, it's funny because what people don't realize is for years when we grew up, and I'm sure Tommy, you did this, when you grew up and you washed your car and you used a bath towel.
Yeah.
Right? We all did it. We've all done it. And I did it for years. But what most people don't realize is twist loop is the same technology that's on your bath towels in your house.
Okay.
And if you look at it closely, the difference is they're made of cotton. These are microfiber. And so if you look at the same design, it's identical. It's just a loop, and then it's been corkscrewed and twisted down. And the goal of that is it increases the surface area of the towel, and therefore it's allowed to absorb more water. Yeah. So at the rag company, we have basically we take most of our drying towels and we put them on a number scale. And what we do is we weigh a towel when it's dry. We weigh a towel when it's so wet that it's almost dripping, and that gives us a good number to work with. And what we found is most 80-20 towels, so take like a Costco towel, will hold about anywhere from 6 to 7 times its weight in water, which is really good, because a cotton towel will only hold 5 times its weight in water. So as we go up on our weaves, a waffle weave 70-30 will hold almost 10 times its weight in water, which is far superior than a normal terry weave. Yeah. A plush knit, or what we call our plush, like our eagle or our something even like our pluffle, which is a hybrid mix between a plush and a waffle weave, that holds 11 times its weight in water. Our twist loops, our twists, we're able to hold 12 to 13 times their weight in water. So much more absorbent. And then our gauntlets, the gauntlets, with the advent of having the twist loop and the plush nature, again, another hybrid, that's able to hold almost 14 times its weight in water. And so we've been able to allow, quantify the absorbency of a towel or a drying towel as it goes down the line. Now we have another towel, our liquidator, which is a very tall, long pile twist loop.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that one.
The liquidator, because of how tall the twists are on it, they have a massive surface area. So they almost equate to the exact same surface area that these gauntlets hold. And so those liquidators can also hold 14 times their weight in water. They are crazy thirsty. And it all dictates on the pile height and length of each towel and how it works in and of itself. We also double side both our towels, so we never have an unfinished side. There are a lot of manufacturers who do one side the nice microfiber, the other side it's a very smooth surface. Well, that's just the back side of the weave, and it's technically an unfinished towel. Yeah. But they're selling it because they can get it for cheaper because it's not technically done. So we always try to make sure our towels are finished, make sure all of our towels. The other thing is we have a 70-30 butter soft suede edge. So we've made our edges as well very soft, but also very absorbent. So they do work as well. So we take every side of a towel and make it as absorbent as we can. Many companies will just use satin, or they'll use another version of microfiber. To keep the cost down. We're the only ones that really use, but we use suede because we want that premium feel all the way around on the towel. It provide a really great surface. Plus, what people don't know is suede is a workable edge, meaning you can use it. So on like the FTWs, we have twists with a suede edge, and that is for glass. So that when you get in, you can get into corners, you can get into edges, and you've got a much stronger scrubber to help get those corners and shove it into spots that maybe you couldn't get to previously with another type of glass towel. So I go through, and Anthony and myself think of weird stuff like that on when we're developing and designing a towel. Is what can it be used for? What can it be done with it? And then you've got like our famous towels, the Eagle. The Eagle Edgeless is probably one of the most famous towels, the most heavily copied towel around the industry. And we were the first to come out with that warp knit, circular knit weave is what it's called. And that towel we've created different GSMs of. Now that towel is very soft, very fluffy. It's great for final wipe downs, detail sprays, spray sealants, whatever you want to use it for. But the biggest thing about that towel, we've been able to create different GSMs. GSM is the density of a towel. It's the weight of a towel. It doesn't equate to softness. That's the number one thing people forget about, is they go, well, this is a higher GSM, so it's softer. No, technically a waffle weave towel is a higher GSM than a very ultra plush Eagle towel. It's more dense. It's more dense. And so the weave is much more tightly packed. Same with glass towels. Glass towels are crazy dense and have a very high GSM, but they don't look fluffy and soft. So what we tell people is GSM is just that weight. And what's nice is we were able to create with our Eagles different GSMs. So we have 350, we have 500, we have 600, we have a 550 with an edge in the Everest, and then we have a 1100, Everest 1100. And they're all the same type of weave, they're just different weights. Yeah. And so we're able to cater to everybody. You know, when I use the 500, I always thought it was too thick. And I always said that. I said, this towel's good, it's just too thick. If we went on a diet, we could do some work with it. And that's what we did. So we created the 350. And that has quickly become the detailer's towel, so to speak, because detailers need that because they love the tactile feeling of being able to feel the surface underneath the towel. And if you make a towel too thick, you can't feel the surface underneath because there's so much towel in between. And so a lot of people, it's just another little thing to think about when you're touching a surface, is to find that tactile ability on certain things. And but yeah, so that's been our biggest thing. But then with that, you know, we worked very hard the last 4 years, and we've worked with multiple companies trying to figure out how to create a detergent to clean these towels.
That was my next question. I think you're psychic.
Yeah. Well, hold on.
I can look up myself. Oh. Nu tror jeg at jeg mistet han Levi. Steitjan kommer vel på. Håper jeg. Nå skal vi få høre om vasking av mikrofiber. Det må vi få med oss. Did your wife pull the plug?
No, I got work called and they bumped me off the feed here. So,
yeah.
So anyway, what I was saying was, so we spent 4 years trying to develop a laundry detergent to clean our towels. And through that, you know, you probably guys have seen me talk about on our YouTube channel, seen Ivan LaCroix talk about it, and Anthony, lots of folks, including, you know, Rag Company Europe. Biggest thing was we talked about using a free and clear detergent with a half a cup of distilled white vinegar in your bleach cycle to help break up waxes and sealants and things of that nature. The reason we've always done free and clear detergent is what people don't realize is microfiber is a hand with fingers. Cotton is a fist. So you've always had to just wash, you know, basically wash a fist, right?
Yeah.
When you're washing a hand with fingers, there's a lot of little indentions that you have to get into that hold stuff. And so the problem was a lot of detergents weren't able to break into those spots in between the fingers. They couldn't really release a lot of stuff. So then the addition of an acidic agent was there to try and break the rest of it. But it wasn't quite right. As more and more spray sealants came out, as more and more SiO2s came out, as more and more different, stronger sealants and ceramics came out, the towel couldn't release that anymore. And towels became almost a one-use item to where people can't utilize them the best way. And especially drying towels. People buy a drying towel, they wash their car, they dry it off, and they use a drying spray or a detail spray or a spray sealant as a drying aid, they now seal this towel to the point that it's almost literally unusable, like if you were removing a ceramic coating.
Yeah.
And that towel you've spent money on, maybe you only got a few uses. So for us, it was, how do we get people to, you know, the reason that sets us apart is we use a very high grade yarn, an AA grade yarn. We use some of the best. And the goal and theory behind that is you can get 1,000 washes and not have the towel dissolve and break apart on you. Where on lower quality towels, they don't hit that number. So the fact that all of a sudden we make these very, very strong, heavy duty towels that can really, you know, keep up to the bakes, you know, to washing. But the problem is the chemicals that we're using to make our cars shiny are actually damaging the towels and making it that we can't use them. That became our conundrum. That became our gosh, how do we do this?
Did you at one point in time go like, hey, wait a second, people need to buy new towels?
We did. Well, and it's funny. One of our oldest, like our very first website for the rag company, it said, because we use such great yarn, you won't have to buy towels as frequently, and that's that's great for you.
Bad for business.
But bad for business. And then people were buying more towels, but the problem is people go, oh, rag company towels, they don't last. What they didn't realize was they'd say, oh, rag company towels and all the other microfiber towels that I own also don't last because I'm using this product to dry my car.
Because they only had rag company as a reference. Perhaps.
Yeah. So they always say, so you see that in forums and groups and stuff is, oh, I bought that. It worked great 1 or 2 times and that was it. And it's like, well, what did you use? Oh, I used this. Oh, yeah, you probably shouldn't use that product. You sealed your towel up and you left it on the counter for a month. Yeah. So we said, how do we fix that? How do we remove all those things in the surface? How do we remove and pull that stuff? And you got to remember when things are in a wash and they're moving back and forth, how do you remove those sealants and those polymers and those agents without them going back to the towel or clinging onto the next towel in the wash or clinging onto that? How do we do that? And we worked for years. Like I said, we went through almost 4 chemical companies to really push through this. And we'd spend months and months and months trying to get these different working variables. And not everybody could get to that point. They would go, well, this will do and this will work. Well, it worked, but it stripped all the colorant out of the towel. It made the towel feel more brittle. It's aged the towel because we stripped everything out of it. We actually damaged the towel. We've hurt the towels. Yeah. So, and a lot of the cleaners on the market that were already an industry standard were developed 10 years ago, 15 years ago, before the advent of all these spray sealants. So while they work, they still don't remove the issue at hand.
What's the biggest people were using it? What's the biggest or the best-selling detergent from microfiber in the detailing industry in the US?
Microclean.
Yeah.
By and it's that's what Matt uses and sells, and there's Microclean's really the best and the industry standard. A lot of the other manufacturers create detergents and refreshers, and the problem is people would buy refreshers and not a detergent. So the goal is you're supposed to do a detergent, then a refresh to clean the towel. But a lot of people would buy a refresh and go, that didn't work. No. It means they're 2 separate things. And so a lot of people would they kind of figured out, oh, free and clear detergent plus the advent of adding that 1/2 cup of distilled white vinegars does okay. It gets there, but it doesn't release them fully.
So, but this problem that they're describing is that's a pretty modern issue that you have from getting the SiO2 and the spray sealants. So it's something that's happened during the last couple of years.
Yeah, basically. And that was the issue was people, it was kind of hand in hand. People learned about microfiber, started spending money on towels, but then also started learning about spray sealants and learning about all the different protective qualities and why those products work so well. And it's no surprise to a lot of people probably, but we sell the most bead maker out of anybody in the world. PNS's bead maker is one of the easiest, fastest, quickest spray sealants to put on your car. However, because we started selling so much of it, that's when we noticed a massive spike in a lot of people saying our towels are sealed, fully sealed now. Like something about bead maker and towels, it really, really likes to lock it in. And so that finally led us to go to Dave Phillips, the father of bead maker, and say, okay, how do we get this back out of the towels? You put it in, how do you get it out? You know the product inside and out. How do we break everything you just made? And he's like, well, that's a weird question to ask me. We're like, we need an antidote. That's what we need. We need an antidote to help this. And so Dave spent about a year. And what was nice was because, a lot of these companies, they just went out. We noticed that a lot of the chemists of some of these companies that we went to didn't think about the protective property that the towels were being used for. They just thought in general, how do I clean a microfiber towel?
Yeah.
And they didn't think about a lot of stuff, which really hit us to where we couldn't move forward. We were like, it's okay, but it doesn't do anything different than a free and clear detergent in this. And that's where Rags to Riches, when we launched it last month, that's where that really set it apart, was the fact that, oh, this came from a place in where Dave said, okay, I let you put this on your car. You've dried it. Now I'm going to show you how to get it out of the towel as well as the laundry and not have it go back into the towel or apply itself. And that was huge to create that ability to limit that, as well as one thing we started playing with, and one thing that we have, and it's pretty gross, but the rag company, we have a lot of towels, and we run through a lot of towels, and we use a lot of towels. And sometimes we forget to wash a lot of towels, and we sometimes forget to wash a lot of towels for up to 2 years. So we had a garbage bag of towels from 2 years ago, wet, moldy, smelly, disgusting, just the grossest of the gross, to the point Anthony and I were pulling them out wearing gloves, trying not to throw up.
Yeah.
As we were putting them in the wash. Like, just, I mean, we couldn't even use the washing machines at work. We had to go to a laundromat down the street because Jeff's like, I don't want that. Yeah. He's like, we don't want that in my building. I don't want that in my nice new washing machine. You take it over to this place down the street. And so we were like making sure we didn't get in trouble as we're throwing this just gross stuff in this laundry machine. But yeah, it's like, for science, we're going to see. And so, but we were able to wash these towels. We were able to bring them back. We were able to bring back absorbency. We were able to get rid of all the mold, the mildew, the staining, all the bad stuff. And we were able to make sure that the towels didn't smell.
Oh,
that was the biggest thing. You could stick your face in them, and we walk into the building and show them to somebody and go, here, smell this towel. And they're like, okay. They didn't know what it was or where it came from. And if they had seen it an hour before, they would have been like, get that away from me. I don't want anything to do with it. But they were able to go like, oh, it smells good.
Yeah. So it had its own legs, the microfiber, and could walk away.
Yeah, literally.
Almost,
it was pretty bad. But we were able to get the towels back and bring them back. And with that, that's when Anthony started coining a phrase called the necromancer, a towel necromancer, brought him back from the dead. And one thing that we didn't foresee, and this was just a happy accident, is because of its ability to not only bring the towel back, but strip the agents out of it, but then also make sure that they don't reapply. More and more times we've noticed, as people have been using it now for almost a month, the towels that they're washing, they're finding that the towels are better than when they bought them new, especially after multiple washes, utilizing the product. So it's almost as if the product is now able to not only revive the towel, but then reinvigorate it and make it a much longer lasting product.
So you have this TRC juice that get put into the towels, basically?
Basically. And so that's why, and that was cool, because it was, Jeff had always had, when we were trying to figure out this product, we always have all these fun different names for a lot of different stuff. And Jeff really, really, really loved the name Rags to Riches. And we all thought it was kind of silly. All of us were like, oh, okay. And even PNS, when they started making the product, they're like, so we're thinking of a different name change. And Jeff's like, no, it's called Rags to Riches. That's what it's called. That's what it does. That's what it's going to be. And so that's why we use the name Rags to Riches, is it really does bring your towels back to their former glory, brings them back to what they're supposed to be in the first place, and how they're supposed to be used. Now, some people have been able to use them with some of the ceramic coatings that aren't hardening the towels fully, like they don't cure hard on some of the towels. They're able to wash the ceramic out of the towels and keep those towels and use them for interior jobs, or, you know, dirty jobs, jams, wheels, things like that. I have a few folks that have used it that go, I think I could use it on paint. And I say, that's your own risk. I don't quantify that. I don't have the scientific data to say that it's okay. But their hands, their touch, the feel of the towel itself in their hands after that is very surprising for a lot of them to go like, man, it really does change the nature of what the towel is supposed to be and how it's supposed to be used. And we really hit it off the mark. Now, for those of you wondering in Europe, when you're going to get it, as soon as the SDS is approved, we'll be able to get it out to everybody, and it'll get to all the different places that it's going to be at. But until then, it's a US only product at the moment, until that's all approved.
Well,
but,
from the way you describe this product, it does sound like a absolute game changer when it comes to cleaning of microfiber towels.
It is, because we've tested almost every microfiber detergent on the planet available. In those 4 years, that's what we've been doing, is just testing it against everything. We've washed thousands of towels, and this is the only one that really does bring a towel back to life and keeps it soft. Because one of the issues we ran into that a lot of people don't think about is when you strip microfiber and you pull all the agents out of it and you try to get all the bad chemicals, you make that microfiber brittle.
Yeah.
And what you do is, when it's brittle, it's just like a branch, when you break a branch over your leg, or you're blasting through a forest and you're breaking branches, those branches splinter. And the same thing happens to the microfibers. Those fibers splinter. And now you've got a towel that's a heavy linter. So when you wipe it across your glass, you see all these little things. And that's usually what happens when a towel's either contaminated or close to death, is that it starts to splinter heavily. And that's when you get a lot of heavy linting. And that can happen just because of whatever, it got washed with a new batch. An old towel got washed with new towels, and the old towel was linting, and it caused all the new towels to do their job, which is hands and fingers grab and hold on, which is what the new towels are doing, but they're just grabbing an old linty towel and they're just filling themselves with lint. And so, it's those kind of issues. But that was one of the things that we really liked about Rags to Riches, was that it also made them soft, and it didn't hurt the towel, which is the biggest thing.
So what temperature do you, because boiling microfiber?
Not good. So the reason is that I'm not good with Celsius conversion, but
water
Fahrenheit.
Well, it's really easy, Levi, because in Norway, I don't know about what the temperature are like in the US, but water freezes at 0 and then it boils at 100. So it's
okay. That
should
work.
be easy, but I don't know the conversion straight. But
so here in the US, basically all of our water heaters are set from the factory at 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That is a normal factory setting for a water heater in your home.
Yeah, so that's 60 degrees in Celsius.
Yeah. So the water heaters are set at 140. That would be your hot setting on your washing machine. Microfiber starts to melt at 140 degrees Fahrenheit.
But I've boiled this towel and it's still fine.
You have, but that's what I'm saying. It starts to melt.
Okay.
So as a reseller or microfiber manufacturer or anything, I always tell folks, don't use hot water, because I can't gauge what people set their water heaters at. It may come at 140, but it also has a dial that continues to go up, so you can increase your heat. And people maybe like a hot bath, like a nice hot water. So they crank their water heaters up. So I may have a gentleman that goes, I put mine at 180 degrees and it's scalding and it's fully melting a towel, or it's melting or damaging. So what we say to be safe is less than 140 degrees. So in the US, we use the term warm or cold. Use either one of those, never hot. I don't ever like to recommend to somebody, if you want to boil your towels. So Tommy, if you want to boil the towels, go for it. But what I do is I don't ever want to tell a customer, boil your towels, because they're going to be great, because I can't guarantee how they're going to boil it.
Yeah.
I can't be there with them over their shoulder watching and going, okay, pull it out. So for us, it's easy to just say warm or cold. And then the way I dry, same reason. You never put them in a dryer that's going to run at a high heat for that same reason. Everybody's dryer runs at a different temperature. Some dryers get up to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. You can melt and burn your towels. And when we say melt, the fibers don't turn into a fist all of a sudden. They basically, the fingers just start to curl. And the problem is now you have what I refer to as an arthritic hand that is much harder to clean the surface, right? If you have, and I know this because I have arthritis, but if it hurt, the towel isn't as dexterous as it once was. And a lot of people notice, they're like, that just doesn't feel right. It looks the same. And a lot of people look at it and go, oh, it looks the same, but it just doesn't feel right. And so what I try to tell people is always err on the side of caution. Warm or cold wash, and then a cold dry. So you can either hang dry, or what I do is put it on the lowest setting on my tumble dryer. So it's just air. It takes a long time. And then you dry the towels that way. This limits the amount of damage that you can do as a person to your towels. And never use a fabric softener. No dryer sheets, no dryer balls, none of that stuff. Just keep it clean, because a dryer sheet actually is like putting a ski glove over your hand. You have some dexterity, but you've created a coating over every finger, to protect it. And that's literally what you do when you put a dryer sheet in with your towels, is that fabric softener coats all those fibers. And again, same thing, you lose dexterity. The towel just doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So
but
in my shop, I used to
in Norway, the reason for I when I talk about detailing, I refer to the Norwegian market because that's the one I know, is that a lot of people use high temperatures washing because that's one of the only ways to restore the effect of the microfiber. And I think from your way of describing your new detergent, it might actually solve this problem, that you don't have to put it at those high temperatures to get it back to working.
Exactly. And the reason for a lot of people that did high temperatures was to do that same thing like we talked about earlier, to break some of those sealants, to break some of those waxes and polishes.
Alternative is to throw it away. Then it's better to
if you're going to throw it away and you thought, I might go high and see if I can do anything, because worst case scenario, you're going to throw it away anyway. But yeah, the beauty of this product is chemically it's able to clean and clarify the microfiber to be able to be used again and not have any issues, and do it in a safe, effective way. When I had my detail shop, I ran cold water only to my washing machine, and I took the heating element out of the dryer, so that my employees could only put it on cold, because if it put it on hot, nothing came out. And if they put it in the dryer and ran it, the dryer never heated up, so that I never worried about someone breaking and damaging my towels. So when I'd wash towels, because I looked at it as an investment, I looked at like, man, I just dropped $1,500 or $2,000 on a bunch of towels. The last thing I wanted was a 17-year-old kid not paying attention and destroying $2,000 worth of product or equipment. Same way as if I had a polisher. I don't want them just dropping it and breaking it and things like that because they're not paying attention. So it was all about trying to keep my guys as safe as possible and as idiot proof as possible.
Yeah, I guess that's a good word, idiot proof. That's the goes for everything we do, right?
Well, and when you start, the hard part is, like I said, it's hard to police everybody. And when you sell something to somebody, you expect them to do what you've stated. So when we sell towels, on our darker colored towels, we put little cards in that say, remember, you need to wash these and wash them separately. We recommend you do that. And you'd be amazed how many calls we get every day from people that go, I washed a red towel with one of my ice gray towels, and now I have pink towels. And it's like,
no shit.
Yeah, you have to do that with your clothes, man. I don't know if you know that, but you can't wash your clothes the same way. And they're like, oh, my wife does my laundry. It's like, okay, but that's the only laundry a lot of these folks do is their microfiber towels. And it escapes. They don't know. And when you explain it to them, like, it's fabric, it's dyed fabric, you have to do that.
I think one of the, it's a side note, but we were talking about the development of the industry. And I think one of the most peculiar things that I've noticed, and which has changed a lot the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years, is that I remember purchasing my first Swiss wax leather care kit back in the
Yeah.
days, and at that time there was well, it was seen upon as a fact. Now it's more of a myth that microfiber damages and screws up your leather interior, because
Yes.
Swiss
Yeah.
wax used a cotton cloth, and that was the only way to go ahead and clean the leather. And I think it's been even less than 5 years since that was
Yeah. I
acknowledged
agree with
fact.
you.
And I still to this day still see people on forums asking this question. It's fun to see the development in knowledge, that I think most of the people now know that using microfiber on leather and other surfaces is not a risk in any way.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the things that I think, and I did that first thing when I bought microfiber from the rag company. I used it only on the exterior.
Yeah.
Because I thought, oh, it's probably too aggressive to use on interior stuff. And then I used it and I thought, wow, this really cleaned up the interiors way better. And I didn't even have to scrub half the time with a brush and stuff. And so I think a lot of it just has to go with that perception. A lot of people don't realize what a product can do or can't do, and they see a limitation in it. And that's one of the neat things. I think the biggest thing that I love about working with like Lars from Color Lock is he has been such an adopter to new things and such a big fan of how stuff works in the industry, and then he brings all of his knowledge to it.
Yeah.
That's been one of the funnest things for us to be able to work with him and in creating a lineup. He's still got some towels that he uses, but then he always recommends rag company towels to use for a lot of different stuff. And that's one of the neatest things, is to see this change and shift. And for myself, even just in leather care, a lot of detailers just we don't have that knowledge in everything. And to myself, last February was my 40th birthday. And for my birthday present, I took the Color Lock training with Lars and Ram. Yeah. And they came to Boise. They stayed about 2 doors down from me in my neighborhood here. And we went to the rag company and did the class for 2 days. And I sat there and listened, and I sat there with Eric Joseph, who's the head of G-Technic North America.
Yeah.
And the two of us started, we opened our shops the same time back in the old days. And we were good friends on Instagram and Facebook when we first started out, because we were same age, close to the same age, same size detail shop, stuff like that. And so it was nice to be friends, hanging out on my birthday, taking a class that we're both super nerdy about and excited about. And then to learn so much, when Ram and Lars taught that class, there was stuff I didn't even know about leather. And I realized that that's now, one of the newest unknowns for a lot of detailers. That's still an area that the knowledge level is very, very low, because I've worked so long trying to get microfiber up, and I've worked coincide with watching people with chemical brands and polishing manufacturers like Rupes and Flex, and those guys trying to show you how the tools actually work and whatnot. But to see the chemicals, but then to go and sit in this class with a friend of mine who I regard very well in the industry, who's equally, I feel we're on the same footing in terms of knowledge. Both of us sit in a class with a buddy of ours that we've had great evenings and weekends and nights with all over the world, and have them tell us about something, and we look at each other and just go, wait, what? Hold on a second. We didn't know, it was such a shock to the system to go, oh, there needs to be more education. We haven't even scratched the surface when it comes to detailing cars on that level. And then with the advent of, for the US market, Coach Chemise products, for the way that they've started bringing on stuff, is tackling areas that detailers normally don't even touch or don't even know how to clean or protect. And then they make products to do stuff for it. It's insane. And so I'm excited, because even though after 5 years of pushing through and trying to do a lot of stuff and go like, man, look at what we did with Rags to Riches, like we hit something that nobody had hit yet, to go, oh, there's still so much more in this industry that none of us really know about or have experienced.
At what point because the rag company has for a lot of years been just about the rags, the microfiber. At what point did you sort of broaden your view on those
So
things?
it was about probably 6 years ago. They brought on Optimum No Rinse and the Optimum lineup. Um, they brought it on just because it fit well with the towels, because a lot of people in the forums were talking about using microfiber and rag company towels when doing rinseless washing.
Yeah.
And that was the first start, was we brought on Optimum. And that was very good. And for a long time, Optimum was synonymous with the rag company. A lot of people thought we were sister companies, which is how we were able to align ourselves so well with Optimum Car Care in the Netherlands and Rag Company Europe. Same kind of thing. We were able to, because everything worked really well together. And so it was an easy pairing. But then it was a couple of years with that. And then it was realizing that we needed to maybe add a couple more products, and we started working with we became friends with people. And so like we became friends with PNS, and we started looking at their product line. And the problem was, I said, well, it's just not flashy enough if it's going to be a retail brand. And they said, well, we have this Double Black Rennie Doyle brand, and it's kind of our best of the best. And so we said, well, can we cherry pick that? Because Anthony and I really liked Beadmaker, and we liked their Pearl soap. And that was about where I think it started, where we just kind of said, those are the ones we like. We just only need those two products. And they said, yeah, okay. And then we brought them on, and we were like, these are really good. And they worked well with the Optimum products. And it just kind of grew, because as that went, PNS would send us more stuff. They're like, hey, try this, try this. And we're like, wow, that works. Okay. Wow, that works. Let's do it. And it was all, as long as we stayed in the Double Black line, we said this will work. But then there was a product like Brake Buster, their wheel cleaner, wasn't in their product line. It was in their normal line, but not the Double Black. And that was one thing where we just asked, hey, could it be a Double Black product? Can you put a Double Black label on it and put it in that line so we can have it? And they were like, oh, sure, not a problem. And now that's what it is. And so it started out very small. It started out with only carrying Optimum, only carrying a few products. But then it kind of turned into okay, if that worked with PNS, what other brands can we bring on a couple products here and there to sell? The first thing was buffing pads. We didn't want to do tool sales, so we didn't feel like selling tools. And my thing was, if we're teaching everybody, they're going to have every type of polisher. We shouldn't limit ourselves to one type. So that's when we brought on Lake Country. Lake Country manufactures tons of pads all over the world and for every type of tool. And so I went through the lineup and picked my favorite pads and what could be used if I was using this type of tool, if I was using this type of tool, if I was using this type of tool. These are the pads we recommend. And that's kind of how it started. We were like, whoa, this was the first big line of product we brought on next to Optimum. Then it was just a continuation of, well, we like this, we like this, we like this. And that's kind of where it just grew from. Plus, companies really liked what we were doing and liked the direction we were taking, and then would reach out to us and say, hey, can we send you some product? And that's when Anthony and I kind of started looking at it going like, all right, we got to set some parameters. We got to set. And so our rules became a 1-year trial, and Anthony and I had to agree.
Yeah.
We both had to agree. And there's been some product lines, and there's a product line that just recently we couldn't agree on. We've been using it for a year, and I had a thumbs up, and Anthony had a thumbs down, and it was frustrating to make that call to the company and say, we're not going to carry your product. And it was hard because I loved that product and I thought it was such a good product, but Anthony was like, I don't like it, and these are my reasons. And we have to listen to that, because when we look at a product and we bring on a product, not only do we bring on the marketing of the product, not only do we bring on the education of that product, but we also bring on the customer service of that product. And we have to predict and foresee the customer service amount. But then at the same time, we have to think about the sales of that product. How are we going to sell this? What are we going to do when we sell it? Is it going to be effective and make money? And some products, they don't make a lot of money, but they're a good product. And we carry that product because we both agree on it, even though it's not a big seller, And the same thing with when we brought on Color Lock, it was, I remember Lars and I sitting in a hotel in London, and he looked at me and said, "When are you going to sell my products? How do I get into the rag company?" And I said, "Well, you know my rules." And he's like, "Yeah, but I feel like you've been using them for a year already." And I said, "I haven't used your products. You've never sent me anything. You and I are just friends and we talk on Facebook all the time. Like, I haven't actually physically gotten your products." And he was like, "Okay." And so then he sent me a whole bunch of stuff and we started playing with it. And then him and Ram came here to Boise and did a class or did a video with us, some videos showing how to use the products. They kind of gave us an idea of how to start it. And then we kept working. And then it was almost a year to the day when we launched our products, our Color Lock co-branded rag company products, from the day we were sitting in the hotel talking. And I texted him and I said, "Funny to think, but it's been 1 year to the day since you and I sat here." And I had a picture of that hotel of us, and he was like, "You're right, you were right." And I said, "I told you," but that's what it is. But it takes that long for us to figure out, how are we going to use this? How are we going to sell it? How are we going to create a market around this product? Because it's fine to bring everything on, but there are companies here in the US that sell everything.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, Tommy, from the same standpoint, I look at it as a previous business owner, that's a lot of inventory to bring on, that if you've got multiples of the same type of product, how's that going to work if you're trying to sell a customer 10 different items that all do the same job?
Like this one is best.
Yeah, like it's hard to say that. And so at the rag company, we kind of looked at it and said, we'll try and limit it to having at least at a max maybe 3 products that do the same job. So that way we always kind of have a good, better, best, but always maybe all of them maybe are all best, but it's different pricing and different, what do you want the job to do? And all of our stuff is designed to, everything we sell, we try to make sure it will work. Whether you buy it and you buy this product, or you buy this product or this product, it will work. It will get the job done exactly as you need it to be done, and you won't have any issues. It's never gonna be like, "Well, you should have bought this product from us instead of that one." I don't know what you were thinking. Like, we don't ever want to have that. No. And so it is that. But we noticed a lot of companies have that, where they're like, "Yeah, I got this product. There's 10 of them." Man, I don't know if I could handle that.
It's confusing.
It's very confusing. And not only from the standpoint of trying to train your employees and customer service, but then packing and shipping and teaching your customers or your employees, "Hey, this product's like this, or this product's like that." And we try to do the same thing where we don't have products that look alike, right? Because the same kind of thing, I could easily have, my mom works in our shipping department and pulls the orders. And she, I try to look at it from her eyes and go, "Is this enough for my mom to be able to know the difference between these 2 products?"
That's a good benchmark.
Like, if she's reading the sheet and she's looking at them, I want her to know that, and we try to set everything up so it's as easy as possible for everybody. But I look at that too. And we did that last week. We had a phone call about bringing on a product. And I said, I don't know, because I don't know if we're going to be able to sell enough of that product to justify it. But also, I don't know if it's going to look, it looks too similar to this product. And I have a feeling that we're going to have some issues, because then you run into people that maybe grab the wrong product, and it's nobody's fault.
Yeah, so thinking, if you sell 100 pieces of one product, and then you bring on a similar product, and you now have 2 products doing the same job, you probably won't sell double the amount. You will split the amount that you sell for the one product on the 2, and then, I mean, you would get a better bargaining card against your supplier if you have a higher volume on one product, and it makes sense to narrow it down. It's why would you recommend 5 products to do the same job?
Yeah, and if you can spend it where you have the right products and you're lower in that, not only can you focus your energy better on selling those products, you can educate better to your customers and to your staff as to why these work this way. And that's kind of our rule. And, like I said, we have tons of companies every month. I love it because I take all those products to here to what I refer to as the MOSHQ. And this is where I can the Master of Shine
Oh, okay.
headquarters. And that way I can detail some cars and I can work on them, and I'll use the products here in my garage, and Anthony does the same thing. And so it's nice because I appreciate it. You guys let me use the products, and then I use them on a car to detail. But that's also how I use the products. It's how I test the products for that year. Is I have friends and family, and I have a backlog of customers from the last 20 years that still want me to detail their cars. And so I work on them on the weekends and on the evenings, and I detail a car, but it's so I can get that testing to actually use the products for folks. And so it works. It's fun. And it keeps me young looking, right? That's the goal.
And I guess it's a good thing to have hands-on experience, because if you lose that, it's easy to sort of lose the touch as well on how products are used.
Well, and when I came into this, the biggest thing with detailers was they needed to know that you use the product or that you were a detailer yourself.
Yeah.
They were very leery and not very trustworthy of somebody who just told them, use this product, it's great. If you couldn't back it up and show them how to use it or actually do it, they usually wouldn't buy a product from you because it meant you didn't know what you were talking about. Yeah. And I had that. I had two guys here in Boise that sold products. They had trucks, they'd drive to your shop, they'd have all the chemicals on the truck. And I had one guy who would get down and demo a product on a car for you. And he's like, here's the product, here's how we use it, da, 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 da. And it was like, wow, thanks. And then I had another guy who used to work at a grocery store, and then he got a job as a route salesman, but he'd never touched cars. He didn't know how to, he'd only ever washed his car in his driveway. And I'd tell him, I go, hey, this polish isn't working the right way, or this compound's not working the right way. And he'd go, oh, well, let's look at the bottle here, shall we? Did you burnish the finish? Did you add 4 drops of product? And did you put it on a speed 3? And I go, yes. I did all those things. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird, strange. And then he'd leave. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want to buy products from you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for nothing. And that really changed. And that was where I looked at it and said, okay, I never want to be like that guy, where I only know what's written on the bottle. I need to know that product inside and out. I need to know that product on how it's going to work for my customers, as well as how it's going to, and it worked for me to know that, so that when I sold a detail to a customer, I knew that I could get this scratch out, or I knew I could do this for them. But then also now in detailing and selling and showing the products, I know chemically how this is going to work. I know how this is going to do things. And that also falls in line with, we brand ourselves with premium companies that manufacture their chemicals in-house. They're not white labeled products. And as much fun as it is for companies to create their own brand and create their own name, there can be a disconnect for some companies in which, and in the US we have companies that make products for there'll be 6 different products on a forum. Everybody's arguing over which one's better. It's the same product. It's just been labeled 6 times. The problem with that is, if that customer has an issue with that product, that person then has to go to the person that they spoke to, their account manager at that chemical manufacturer, to submit a question or a request. And sometimes that person is in a chain of 3 or 4 other people and has to go up this ladder before they can get an answer. And with the reason with selling Koch, with selling Color Lock, with selling Rupes, with selling, we've got Solution Finish, Optimum, and PNS. Everything is made in-house. Every single one of those guys has a chemist or technical director on hand, and I can call them and go, I'm having issues, or I can email them and say, this customer's having issues. How do we fix it?
That's a big selling point. It's also, we have a lot of professional end users and customers, and the ability to pick up the phone and call or send an email to one of the scientists. Koch Chemie has 2 doctors that developed a lot of stuff, and just call them up and ask them, and no more worries. They don't have to. They know the product in and out.
And that's huge, and it really allows us to do. And those companies that carry, like yourselves, that provide that, we really can provide the best customer service to that customer. And, that same thing when we bring on a brand, that's what we say. Look, we do a lot of sales and we do a lot of customer service. And so we are going to be using you. Is that a problem? and they say yes or no, and or give us a direction and say, okay, well, here's where you can send stuff and we'll answer that, and vice versa, because we get calls every day, and we get emails every day, and it doesn't stop, and it is part of the business that a lot of people seem to forget.
It's but I guess also it's what sets you apart maybe from a lot of the competition, because I think I don't know the market in the US, but I would presume that a lot of the big players are probably having problems handling all the customer service stuff in a good way, because I don't know how your customer service is structured, but once you start hiring people just for hiring people, and they don't really have a real connection to any of the products, they're not able to give a good support.
Correct. And the gal that runs our customer service, she was I think our 6th employee, Rebecca. She's been with us for a very, very long time. So she's been with the company from right when it moved out of the garage into the very first small location. So she knows our products very well. And she's been learning as we've grown and brought on these brands. She's been able to be there to learn, like, okay, now we're carrying this product line. Now we're carrying this product line. And then I do customer service. Anthony does customer service along with her. And then Nate, who is our graphic designer and photographer for the company, he not only takes all the fancy pictures, but designs all our banners and stuff for our website. But then he also does customer service. And Nate has been was one of my best friends for 10 years and used to work for me in my detail shop. And he had gone to school for graphic design, and it was just such a cool. He had a good eye, and when we needed somebody to come in and do photography for product and do graphic design, I brought him on because that's one of the things the rag company does, is we try to hire, and it's one thing, it's a core belief that Jeff and Carolyn have, is they want to hire people that want to be there, people that know this is a fun, unique experiment, and it's a fun roller coaster, as we say, and we want you to be on the ride with us. And so they've hired everybody through referrals. So they will tell everybody in the group that, we'll have a meeting, and they'll say, hey, we need 4 or 5 employees. We've got 4 spots open. Please bring us names of folks that you feel trustworthy enough that would want to come work here. And that's how we've hired. I was hired because Jeff and Carolyn knew me. I was a customer of theirs that was a good friend, and they could rely on me to answer questions. Anthony was hired because he was a customer who had a very OCD level of what he looked at, and he's very much like Matt and like Matt Mormon, and so he would see things a certain way, but he also came from a company that he did a lot of customer service for, and knew how to run things a certain way in business, but he loved detailing. And so he got laid off from his job and then came in as a part-timer, but was part-time for one day and then was full-time for the next 4 years, as he has been. But that's how they've looked at it. They had a family friend who built houses here. He worked for a housing company, and they'd known him for years. And Jeff was telling us, he goes, oh, this guy, we had some friends over for dinner. Someday I want to hire him. Someday I'd love him to just come work here because he's such a good friend of mine. And sure enough, he hired him. That's our guy, Josh, who does our international business development. And they've always kind of hired for the sense of community and family, because they're a husband and wife and their son, and they've got it's a family run business, and they want to keep that extenuation. So like my mom is a school teacher. She teaches kindergarten. And this year, when the schools shut down and went online and became virtual, my mother is close to retirement, and she had to take classes this summer to prepare to do virtual, to do Zoom, basically back and forth with her classes. And she's like, I can't do this. I'm not. And my mom teaches dual language. So she teaches dual language kindergarten. And so it's English and Spanish. And she said, the kids that come into my class they already are going to be at a disadvantage, because a lot of them don't have computers. A lot of them don't have internet. So the school has to subsidize it for them. And she goes, I need the kids. The parents work hard. They don't have time to babysit the children. So she was worried that the kids wouldn't have a great, but she was like, I can't teach virtually. I can't do this. So the school district gave her kind of a 1-year sabbatical and said, if you take a year off, if you want to come back, you can have your job back in your classroom at the school. And so she took the year off and came to work for the rag company. And so I went up to Jeff and Carol and said, hey, my mom's looking for a gig for the next year. And but the same thing, I gave the referral. She did the rest on her own. She went in for the interview. She went in, talked to them. And it's fun. It's been nice. And I joke because we had a meeting the other day and I was the one leading the meeting and kind of explained to the team, we had everybody around us in the warehouse. And when I got done, I was like, all right, any questions? And my mom raises her hand. And I said, Mom, what's your question? And it was just fun for me to have that as well. But it was also, but that's what's fun about the job is that, she looks at it from the sense that she's very thankful and passionate about having the job because of Jeff and Carolyn helping her out in this kind of situation. But then also she loves the fact that this job has given me an ability to grow, an ability to do and reach out to what I have. So for her, she looks at it as I'm going to give my best because this company has done so much for my son and my grandchildren and all this. And so it really does stem from that kind of aspect. And it's what Jeff and Carol and the owners of the rag company really look for is creating that kind of family atmosphere. And we hope that responds back in our videos and our sales and everything that we do at the rag company and our customer service. We try to reflect that.
I think that's the soul of the company that you're describing right there, and I think that's maybe one of the things that you notice when you watch the videos you guys make, but you can't put your finger on it. But there's something real and something that's not sales driven in the approach you have, and that's probably the reason behind that being there. And it's a real awesome way to have a company.
Yeah, we appreciate it. It's very unique and it's something unlike anything I've ever been accustomed to. But for Jeff and Carolyn, like I said, they came from corporate America and they had their day jobs, and this was designed to be something fun and something they could control and do themselves. And so they had these ideas of how they wanted to run it, and that's how they're running it.
Yeah.
And they've always said, we hire the person, we don't hire for a job. So
that's a good philosophy.
Yeah.
So all right, Levi, thanks for taking the time out of, I suppose, a busy day. I'm going to let you go to work and do something that makes sense instead of sitting online and chatting. Thank you for... That's
pretty much going to be my day. I'm going to be doing that anyway. So appreciate it, Tommy.
It's not much of a difference. It's been an honor having you on. And from what you've been telling, we need to get the rags to riches to Norway as soon as possible.
We're working on it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure we're going to buy a full container, but I'm looking forward to testing the product and see how it compares to the known products on the market, because this is actually one of the products we don't have in our web store, a product for cleaning microfiber, because it's we just recommend using a normal detergent, liquid detergent, but it doesn't clean the clots in the same way, and it does not reverse the sealant effect on the clots. So that's the big thing.
The issue. So,
all right. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Tommy. Appreciate it, man. Thank you for having me on.
We'll have to reschedule a chat sometime, and once you have or once we've tested the rags to riches, we can have what's it called, a spotlight episode or
exactly. There we go. I like it.
Okay. Enjoy your day.
Sounds good, brother.
Have a good Christmas.
Appreciate it. You too, man.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one. See ya.